Yo,
And what's up, buddy?
what's up?
Not too much.
All right.
Another day. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. So this picture of that deck, man, that came out awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. It was a lot of hard work. It was you know, I did some demo one day, then I was supposed to have the guys drop off all the materials and whatnot the next day, but they never showed
Mhm.
up, so we had to go to a lumber yard. My order wasn't even ready. They sold like two specialty pieces that I ordered like a week ago, so it cut into half our day. So then we had a full day today. So what
Nice.
about you?
Well, I sat at a computer for 12 hours. So
Nice.
that was nice. And then needed to go food shopping for the fam. So drove down to ShopRite and then some adventure. I missed the days where I could run in and run out. Not sit in a line that wraps around the entire store. But
Yeah, you
uh,
got to keep that 6 feet away, right?
yep. And it was funny because I was looking on like the spots where they have like the 6 feet away and like those have little X to marks the spot type deal.
Yeah, no, I
And I
see.
just I just go back in my head to like Looney Tunes when like Wile E. Coyote would like step on the X and like the moving trap would come down.
Yep,
So that's the
yep,
first thing I thought. I'm like, it's like not today, man. That's it,
yep.
not today.
I ain't standing on that X.
Yeah, but yeah, I did that, and then on the way home, my lovely pregnant wife decided to call me and say that she needed Wendy's, needed a Frosty. So it was nice because I was right in the driveway, and like the garage is opening, and then my phone rang, and she was like, "Oh, can you go to Wendy's?" And I was like, "All right."
Yep,
Pulled out of the driveway,
that's
drove
how it
down the
always
street.
happens.
Yep. So did that. Picked up the Frosty, got myself 10-piece nuggets just in case, and yeah. As soon as I got home, she's like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't think I want this anymore." It's like awesome.
Well,
It's
I
fun.
mean, the only good part is you probably dipped those nuggets in the frosty, right?
Yep. I was like, all right, it's my dinner now, so it's all good.
Chasing that dad bottom way.
Uh,
Quarantine gains.
yep. Yeah, I just picked up one of those.
Right.
I finally found like a kettlebell that wasn't like $200 off eBay,
Oh, I
and
know. And then they ship it by weight too. So it's like the higher you go, the
yeah,
more expensive it
yep,
is to get it.
yep. It was $40 for the kettlebell, but then
Uh-huh.
like another 50 for like shipping. So yeah, it was still like $100 for a kettlebell that should have been $40, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
know. I know. You got to get that Dick's curbside pickup.
Yeah, yeah. And same thing, like Dick's doesn't have anything for like 200 miles.
Yeah, I
So
know. I know. Every time you
so
go on something, it's like, yeah, not in your 250-mile radius.
yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of beat, but whatever, man. Slowly putting together that home gym, so it's all good.
All good.
Yeah. All right, man. Ready to do this?
Yeah, let's get after it.
All right, man.
Jiu Jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you. Then I split you. Jiu Jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.
All right. Two Live Fools,
What's up?
episode
What's up?
two. Garrett and Drew. Didn't mean to make that rhyme, but I guess that's just the way it happened. All right, guys. This is episode two. You know, we've gotten a couple listens so far and some feedback from some listeners. So thank you guys. Keep it coming. We're gonna keep continue to craft this and kind of streamline this as best we can as we kind of move forward. So as we begin to post these episodes, like feel free to throw any feedback out there and let us know what you think. But on that note, we have a sponsor today, guys. So this episode is actually sponsored by Roll Junkie Jiu Jitsu gear. So Roll Junkie, this company, that has you covered from kimonos, t-shirts, uh, gi and no gi apparel. Roll Junkie makes premium quality apparel with clean, innovative designs that you won't find from any other brand. So use their exclusive promo code 2LiveFools. That's numerical 2 LIVEFOOLS, and that will give you 15% off your entire order.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, we love Roll Junkie, man. They've been one of my main gi sponsors since they opened probably about 8-9 years ago, and actually the owner was is one of our main training partners.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's so interesting because when I moved back to Jersey back in, I think it was like 2014, and I started training at Henzo Gracie Denville. I remembered when I first met Ed, one of the owners, he always had a roll junkie. At the time, I didn't know that he was one of the owners. So one day after a roll, I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, like it's a really cool gi and like your no gi stuff." I'm like, "It's a really cool like design. Like, where'd you get it?" And then eventually he was just like, "Well, it's my company."
Yeah.
So I was like, "All right, well that kind of makes sense." And then he, really gracious. He said, "Hey man, if you ever need anything, you're ever interested in buying some new gear, like let me know. I'll hook you up." So I was like, oh yeah, sure. So literally like 3 days later, I saw him again. I think he brought in like three or four like different gis as well as like shorts and like rash guards. And he honestly was like, hey man, try everything on. And he's like, be honest, let me know what you think if you like everything. So tried on the gi, like great fit. A couple days later, like bought my first gi, and then I think I've been hooked ever since, man. Probably of all the stuff I have, it's up there. It's some of the highest quality gear that I've owned. I mean, I've had stuff for probably the past like 5 or 6 years, and all the gis are still in great shape. All the no gi stuff is in great shape, and I travel a lot for work, so that's usually my main travel gi, and I've never had any
Oh
issues
yeah,
with it. So
dude. Well, yeah. I mean, to just kind of piggyback off that a little bit. I mean, Ed's made pretty much. Ed and Matt, his brother Matt, actually designs and handles most of the stuff.
yeah,
He's made all our rash guards for our school, competition rash guards. I mean, I still have their first gi. I could still wear it, today, and it's 7 years old. And I mean, I teach 3-4 times a day, and I'm rolling hours a day, and I got their first original spats, and they're still holding up, and they're a good product. We've been doing working with them for years, so I can't say nothing but great things about that company. So guys, definitely go check them out. Plus they got that cool Roll Junkie monkey logo with the cauliflower ears, so he looks like a little gremlin with the ears. It's pretty cool. It actually looks like me in my profile picture, or like if you take a picture of me in like a shadow, I kind of look like him.
yep.
So
It's your face there, right? In all their t-shirts.
yeah.
Probably the nicest t-shirts I've ever worn too, because I think of every t-shirt I've like purchased, it's like I don't know what like manufacturer they use, but probably
Mm-hmm.
one of the softest shirts I've ever bought. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
anytime they
well,
drop
like
a new design, I'm like the first one to buy it.
all my Academy T-shirts, we use the same brand T-shirts as they do now, because in their new long sleeve is like super soft. So
Yeah.
like everything they wear, everything they make like T-shirt wise fits well, awesome. I'm giving them to my dad. Randy wears them all the time to bed. Like she loves them, and I wear them out all the time. So, and they hold up, man.
Yeah.
I've had them for years.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Yep. Two Live Fools. Promo code 15% off. So just give it a shout and let us know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Take advantage of it. They got great stuff, man.
Yeah. All right. So what is going on in the world today? I was listening to I kind of get the patch updates. Like it's like my local news, and
Yep.
I was looking on I think looks like Governor Murphy had a recent meeting just to talk about the initial reopening or potential reopening of Jersey. It's interesting.
Yeah.
As I keep getting links, it's seeing like it kept saying like a date was coming or dates were coming. It's never like here are the dates. I'm like, dude, like just start opening things up already.
Yeah, nobody.
Um,
He don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. So, and of course, as I'm looking at the list, I'm like, what's the first thing that's open? Let's see. Jiu Jitsu schools? No.
Yeah.
Barber shops? No.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Keep
God.
scrolling. Keep
I'm like,
scrolling.
you don't want that. But I was thinking about that because, as we start to open things up,
Hmm.
especially gyms and everything else that we're trying to get back to,
Yeah.
it's definitely not going to be the same. Like there's going to have to be definitely safety precautions like in mind, and not just for jiu-jitsu gym, just small businesses in general, or any business for that
Yeah,
matter.
no, I agree. I mean, honestly, like for me, it's the safety precautions, aren't necessarily for me. They're for my customers, and their peace of mind.
Yeah,
Like we were talking about too, like last episode, like my gym is held to such a high level of cleanliness that, like even when they were shutting stuff down, like the day, I was supposed to have a Girl Scout troop in to do some self-defense stuff. And the mom was like, listen, who cares? Let's just go. This is the cleanest place you will ever be in. And not just not just as a gym, but just like, she's like, this is probably cleaner than most people's houses. So, like don't be scared, because like, I know Garrett, I know the level in that he holds his, students to, instructors to, and employees to keep the academy clean, So I mean, that's, like I said, like this is nothing new for me, and it's nothing new for you. Like, we take cleanliness very seriously because we're in such a close quarter sport. We're sweating on each other, all this other stuff. So like, the area is always clean. And I mean, even when this happened, I mean, I went the extra step, and I had one of my buddies, and he owns a mobile detailing place, this kid Manny. And Mannys Mobile Detailing. Check him out on Instagram. The kid's awesome. He does
shameless plug. Nice.
Yeah, shameless. Well, dude, he does details called. Dude, I saw him detail. He trained with me for years. His with me for years, and he asked me, and he was like, "Yo, great to me." And he has this, the fogger system. So he came in, fogged the whole school, all the pads, everything, and then we actually got up on a ladder, and I'm like, crank this, turn the heat on through the intake. We fogged the whole school through all the ventilation system. So everything's dead. Dead. Like nothing lives through that. Like it even says right on the bottle, kills coronavirus. So, we know everything's dead in there. And I mean, that's one thing that I might do on a daily basis. Cause I mean, I get my windows cleaned every week, inside and out. We mop the mats multiple times a day, the walls, we spray down the pads, we wipe down the pads, we wipe down the countertops. We have, what's it called? Like, not emergency eye wash stations. Fucking,
we need it too, man. You never know.
Never know. Shit gets crazy, right? So, but not the emergency, like the sanitation, the hand sanitation. Like
hand sanitizer.
Yeah, dude, we have bottles of that everywhere. We have, we're always fully stocked. Gio, you've been at my gym. How many times have you ever seen it run out of toilet paper, paper towel, soap, anything?
Yeah.
Like we're stocked to the gills with that stuff. So, like I said, for us, it's not really that big of a change. The only big change, I mean, maybe in the beginning just to get open, is that 6 feet of distance. Now with jiu-jitsu, that's harder, but we can make it work. That's why, like, even in the Zoom classes, we've been doing the solo training, because I kind of prepped, like, all right, maybe the first, couple weeks we're back in the gym, people might be a little bit wary. At least let's get all of us on the mat together. Let's all work out together. And, we can space each other 6 feet apart. I already laid out the school. I can fit a certain amount of people in there if we're 6 feet apart. And, kickboxing, it's a little bit different. You want to do pad work. You want to work with each other. You want to have that partner training, but like we do line drills in my kickboxing class. We do, shadow boxing drills. So like we can make the kickboxing definitely work. And I think the biggest thing, besides, the cleanliness and everything else, is like people are missing that community, man. I get texts and calls every day from people. They're like, dude, when are you going to open? And I'm like, yo, bro, my hands are tied. Like I would have opened yesterday if they let me, but like, it's just, my hands are tied. But, I'm a part of a couple Facebook groups, and, there's a lot of gym owners out there that are trying to band together and get this thing open, because people's mental health is like taking a dive. And, like we were talking, like just getting that roll in, like last week, our mental health just went boom. And it was like, we were re-energized and we're back in the good fight,
Yeah, I think I'm really happy to see, like, not just the gyms kind of banding together, but everyone strategizing initially. Like, we know we're gonna open eventually, but how do we do so in a sense that we protect our students? Training at your gym and then training at my home gym in Denville. I mean, everyone's there's always such a high I don't know what you would call it, but as far as like when it comes to cleanliness, like not just personal hygiene, but the actual facility itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's always nice to see. Even before this, that's always good to see, because that just makes you feel that much safer safer training.
Oh yeah,
And
well, I mean,
it's
it comes with the territory, bro. Like if you have to
yeah,
be clean, man. Like your uniform has to be clean, your rash guard has to be clean, your fingernails should be chopped. Your teeth should be brushed, your toenails should be trimmed.
yeah,
You should throw some deodorant on. Don't be a dirtbag.
yeah,
And wash your hands. Like I wash my hands and I wash my face before I even go onto the mat, and I've been doing that for 16 years. So
yeah,
like I brush my teeth, like I put on deodorant, I wash my hands, wash my face, and that's before I go sweat and grab other things. So I know me, it's a level of mine, and the other thing is like if I feel under the weather, I'm not training.
yeah. I think that's gonna be
I mean, it's just
huge
the personal
for I
responsibility.
guess
Now,
yeah,
listen, like we've all been there where, like, we're run down. We're dads, right? So there's, and I
yeah,
got 3 kids. You got one and one on the way. Like, there's days where, you don't sleep because your kid was up all night. And then, you're living off coffee for 2 days. And, like, so there's times where your body does get run down. And I know personally for me, like, anytime I get super run down, that's when I get sick. So, I mean, it's just
of
trying to get
course.
the proper sleep. And like if you feel off that day, or you feel, that's the day to skip.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll like kind of moving forward. I think that's going to be really big now, especially until there's some type of parameter in place. And I'm not so much talking about like vaccines because we obviously know that's a long way away before we have
Yeah, and
something like
and
that.
it might not
But
be
now
the
you're going to
answer
have to be
either.
conscious. Yeah, and I think people are going to be have to be really, really conscious about their health to the sense that if you feel anything, you get a little scratch in the throat, you have anything coming on, it's just for the safety, not just yourself, but your training partners, these people that you need essentially to train, help yourself get better, and everything like that. You're going to need those people.
Yeah, I
So to
mean, I
protect
know,
them, if something's coming up, you're going to have to
yeah,
kind
I
of
mean, I
chill,
know one
stay
thing
home.
we did at our school and just in preparation for it is like we got one of them
Mm.
thermometers, like you know, touch thermometers. Like
Oh
you ever
yeah,
see them
yeah,
shits on Ghost Hunters where they're like, oh, it's a little cold over there. Oh, it's a little hot over there,
yeah.
right? So we got one of them, and I'm like, sweet, now I can double as my ghost hunting at night too. So because
That'll be
oh,
episode
well, dude,
3, Jiu Jitsu
yo,
and ghost hunting.
me and you, we go deep about all that voodoo and all that other shit, man. Like, cause like,
Yeah.
listen, we both had, different backgrounds and have had different things happen to me and you come from a certain culture where
Mm-hmm.
that's very big. And from
Mm-hmm.
a culture where there's certain things and my family talks about certain things and we've been through certain things, so me and you have had those deep spiritual conversations as well. But
Yeah.
get back to the thermometer, like we got one of those things so like we can shoot your head and check at the
Mm-hmm.
door if you have a fever. But that's really tough because anybody that has kids, your kids are always off. Like my kids can sometimes literally spike a fever to 103 and then 2 hours later they're perfectly fucking fine. Like especially
Yeah.
my middle one, Gunner. Like he literally like he could be walking around cool as a cucumber, nothing wrong with him, and then all of a sudden he gets a fever all night, and and then he wakes up the next day and he's like ping pong ball off the walls, bing 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 bing. So
Yeah.
people with kids like especially people with multiple children, like you start getting used to like one of them's always a little bit off, but like you also gotta this is what always kills me, and I know it's gonna bringing it back to a virus. Like for the past my kids are almost 6. I got another one's almost 5, and the other one just turned 2. We don't bring them to the doctors. We bring them to the doctors like as least as possible. They eat healthy, they're in good shape, they're kids. But when they do get a certain level of sick or off, we bring them to the doctor, right? Every
Mm-hmm.
fucking time we bring them to the doctor, what do they say to us? Oh, it's a virus. It's got to run its course. They don't give you an answer.
Yep.
They don't even give us antibiotics. They go, keep doing what you're doing. Alternate Tylenol and Motrin. Give them a little bit of cough syrup if they need to. Make sure they have plenty of fluids. The same thing. So that's why, like, even get back to this virus, everybody's like, oh, vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. It's like, what do they do every time you go to the doctor? They say it's a virus and it's
Yep.
got to run its course. So, like everybody's searching for the cure for this, but like at the end of the day, every doctor says every virus, every time we go to our pediatrician, every time I go to the doctor, they're like, oh, it's a virus. It's got to run its course. So virus has got to run their course. So, I mean, like
Yeah.
what are we supposed to do about that?
Yeah, I think at this point I just stockpile
Well,
Mucinex. That's it. That's
yeah,
really anytime I feel something coming on around flu season, it's just that Mucinex at nighttime, that one that
yeah.
knocks you out, and then
Well,
I'm
dude,
good.
me and you even talked about it. Like when this first started going down, it's like, bro, I get allergies, you get allergies, right? And it was just like, yo, this shit's
Yeah,
gonna get real fucking weird with some people when I'm sniffling and my eyes are red and everything else. And it's like, no, it's just my allergies. I'm okay, you know.
yeah,
So, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think that's the difference is, you know, just being self-aware, you know, self-contained and just really, you know, putting your training partner, you know, in front of yourself sometimes, you know, because we can all get selfish with like, oh,
yeah,
I got to get my rolls in. I got to get my mat time in. There's only so many hours in the day.
yeah,
And, you know, when it comes down to it, it's like we got to be a little bit more self-conscious about that, I guess, you know?
yeah. Especially for those, those career folks and like, those part-time people, those part-time training folks. Like it's going to be hard because you go to work all day, and then, I know for most folks, you're sitting at a desk or doing whatever job for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. Like you're looking forward to getting out of there and heading straight to the
Oh
gym to
yeah, well, I
train.
mean, you know,
So
I mean,
now,
the
yeah,
part time folks, you know, are really, you know, the I don't know what else to say. Like, you know, like you're thinking like full time jujitsu practitioner, but like, you know, for me, the part time folks are 95% of my academy. So, you know,
yeah,
everybody thinks like, oh, MMA school or jiu-jitsu school, they're fighters, they're fighters. No, man. We're moms, dads, brothers, cousins, sisters, you know, little
yep,
Johnny, his cousin, whatever it is. Like that's 90% to 95% of most martial arts academies. You know, the fighters and the
yeah,
competitors are the 5% of the academy, unless you go into like a huge competition academy like Atos or, you know, Mendez brothers. But even them, like they have a lot of competitors, but they got a lot of students. So realistically, 80 to 90% of their school, you know, if they got 500 students, you know, and they got 40 really good competitors, it's still 90% of their school is, you know, mom and dads, regular folk, you know, people just trying to get healthy, get in shape, learn self defense, you know.
hmm, yeah,
So, you know,
true,
I mean, everybody, you know, a lot of times people get that misconception, you know, I mean, besides like your big like MMA schools that like, you know, like an American top team and all that. But like, listen, you know, I've heard Dean Thomas and, you know, a couple of the other guys that are coaches down there. They're like, yeah, I was teaching the kids jujitsu class. And then like, that's how they pay their bills. Unless you got a super stable of
yeah,
fighters that are making good money, like fighters cost you money. You know, amateur fighting
hmm,
costs you money. That even once a guy gets to like a pro level, like he has to pay to fight still. His medicals, you know, training for those months, you know, and what are they getting? $1,000, $2,000 to fight? Like that doesn't pay their bills. That doesn't pay their training. That's 2.5 months of training. That's paying their membership, paying their coach, paying for their supplements if they don't got sponsors, you know, paying for, you know, insurance, paying for the medicals. Now the state of New Jersey, like they'll give you a deal, but it's still 200-300 bucks to get your medicals done, you know, to get your CAT
yeah,
scans and your EKGs and all that other shit. So it's like, dude, like, you know, fighting, you don't make a lot of money unless, especially in MMA, unless you're at like the highest level. And then, you know, you can make that type of money
yeah,
for
true,
3 fights and then never see that money again. You know, so it's a
hmm,
tough sport, man. You know?
yeah. I was thinking like, more about, part-time folks, not, part-time and full-time folks going back to training. And then, I know you go over like, how you clean your academy. And I think it's interesting, even after you and I like shoot content in that
Mhm.
small corner of the gym, like you still mop your entire mat,
Dude,
which I think,
it's
which I think
it's
is
a
funny.
it's a habit. So like, you know, our buddy Corn, yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's
It's
a
a good
well,
habit though.
listen, like you know me, man, like I ain't no dirtball, bro. I ain't no punk. Like I've had,
Hmm.
you know, ringworm, I've had staph infection, I've had impetigo. So like me, the other thing is I'm on that mat more than anybody because I'm working, I'm training, and I'm basically living in that gym.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a priority to keep it clean because I'm in the most contact with that facility. I'm also in the most contact with the most
Yes.
people. So like that's why my hygiene is like tip top. So and you know, like Cornell always says, our buddy, he's like, you got to make your bed every day. Like, so like you'll see me on my Instagram post
Hmm.
on like the school site, like still making my bed. Like, but I haven't had anybody in there besides me and
Yeah.
you and my kids helping me. with the Zoom classes. But like, dude, I still mop the mat every day. Why? Because it's ingrained with me. We train, I mop the mat. So like even during the week, like I'll have 3-4 privates in the morning, I mop the mat. And then I have 4 classes at night, I mop the mat. Like, so sometimes I'm mopping that mat 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Yeah, and I remember like you and I were talking about like, there's like the cleaning aspect, but then there's also like the personal hygiene, which I think you and I have talked so many times, especially like skin infections, like, not like, especially in the past, but even now,
Oh,
like you and I have talked about like fears of like, everyone was talking about coronavirus. So I'm just like, dude, I'm worried about getting staph again. Cause I got staph probably
oh
like
yeah.
5 years ago. And it's something that I dread every time I step on the mat that, it's made me really kind of up my kind of personal hygiene game. And plus now having
Well,
kids,
dude.
having like, even when Jess was like pregnant with our
Mm-hmm.
first, like I made it a point, like as soon as I got off that mat, ran straight to the shower, like searing hot shower, like soap, everything.
Oh, you
So
use
I think
soap?
that's going
That's
to be
good.
another thing
That's
that
good.
you'll
You
see.
use soap, you
No.
dirtball.
Yeah.
So,
And I've had so many people ask me. I remember when I used to work for Power Bar, and people used to ask me about like, different types of endurance athletes about like, like hygiene and like different types of soaps, and they're like, oh, I saw like this antibacterial soap, like armbar soap, or
mm-hmm.
defense soap, and like, what do you think is the best? And I always tell them the same thing. And I think you and I both have experience with that, because between the two of us, I mean, we have like plus
Oh
30
yeah,
years of training, but
absolutely.
like, so we know what works and what doesn't work. And I always tell everyone,
Yeah.
it's soap. Like, use soap. It doesn't need to be some special soap. It just, as soon as you get in that shower, you use fucking soap and scrub. That's it. Soap, good shampoo. Don't worry about some crazy name brand or something that's like, like
Yeah.
$30 a bar. I'm like, just use like a well-known soap
Yeah,
and
I
give
mean,
yourself
well,
a clean. That's
with
like the
me,
biggest thing.
what fucked me up when I first got staph was I was too clean. So if this makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, like, and this comes back to like obsessively washing your hands. So I ended up going to an
Yeah.
infectious disease doctor because I would get staph for like 3 weeks, be on the antibiotics for 2 weeks, it would come back. Now this went on for like 6 months. My ass was kicked like through the antibiotics, through the staph infection, and this was like when I was like a blue belt. So this was probably like 10 years ago, no, probably like
Yeah.
14 years ago. So I was going, Doc, I don't understand. Like, I'm training twice a day. I'm showering every time I train. And he literally said to me, and this is why, like, with this type of thing, with this obsessive hand washing and sanitizing, he's like, you're killing the good bacteria on your body. So it's just eating itself.
Yep.
So, like, that's the whole thing, too. Like, you could bring it back. And, like, this is why I think me and you have a different mindset, because everybody's like, oh, the coronavirus. Like, dude, staph infection lives on you. It's in your nose. It's in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's on your body at all freaking times. At all times. So it's just decides one day if your body's like, hey man, fuck you. I'm gonna try to kill you today. Like that's just how it is. So like you need that good
Yeah.
bacteria on your body to build your immune system and to keep like almost like your pH balance, like you're a pool. So like you need the
Yeah.
good, the
Yep.
good gut bio to keep that pH balance in your, like listen, we all eat fucked up sometimes, and you're like, oh man, something's off. But when you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're off.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, in your late 30s, 40s, like us, like, dude, like I know my body by now. So I know when I'm starting to get sick. I
Oh, yeah.
know when I'm not feeling right. I know when I'm eating good. I know when I'm not eating good. I know when I'm drinking too much beer. I know when I'm not drinking enough beer. So, like,
Whoa, let's talk about that one real quick.
you know what
Whoa.
I'm saying though? Like, so like for
Yeah.
me, it's
I
like
think that's
you gotta like there's balance, and I know we talked about this before. It goes back to balance, man. Everything in life is balance.
yeah.
Too much scrubbing, not enough scrubbing, just enough scrubbing. Too much drinking, not enough drinking, perfect in the middle. Too much food, not enough
Yep.
food, gotta dial it back. So it's like anything in life, it's balance. And right now, the world is out of balance. I'm surprised we ain't standing sideways because it's spinning funny because something's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like even now when I was talking when people were like asking me about like how like best practices for like hygiene and whatnot, I think one of the things like don't go
Yeah.
crazy. Like keep it simple. I tell folks, it's like one, if you're training gi, make sure you watch that
Dude,
EFT class.
Dude,
don't let it sit in your
I
bag.
know, and
Clean
it's
it
one of
immediately.
those things like you wouldn't think you have to tell grown ass people, but it's like cut your fingernails, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Did you wash your gi? You know, like
Fingernails,
as soon as somebody signs
huge.
up in my academy, I tell them how to wash the gi, how often to wash the gi, what to do with it. Because like, dude, I've had like
Mm-hmm.
especially like those 19, 20-year-old guys that like played football or hockey or something. They're like, I never washed my equipment once.
Yeah.
Or like those dirtball wrestlers, they're like, I would have washed my singlet all season so nobody would get close to me when we're wrestling. And I'm
Yeah.
like, like, dude, like that's how you roll? I guess so. But like, I've had like, people being like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I thought you just had to. I'm like, dude, I sweat through my gi where I can wring it out. Like, you need to tell me that I need to physically tell you to rinse that fucking thing? Like, come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I think aside from the fingernails is a big one because your fingernails like trap so
Mm-hmm.
much stuff underneath them. Not just like from the
No,
coronavirus
dirt,
aspect, but there's just dirt
shit.
and whatnot. And you don't want to be that dude who's just shredding people, like especially when you're going for grips
Oh
and
yeah.
no
Well,
gi or anything else. I think that's
it also goes
another
with like how
huge.
you grip somebody. Like I know there's certain guys that they don't hook, they grab with your
Hmm.
fingers and you're grabbing with your claw. Like they grip your neck,
Yeah,
cut. I'm not trying to like grab you. I'm using like a hook, where there's certain guys, and you see it a lot of
yeah.
times too. Even when people panic, they're just like, what's the signs of a jiu-jitsu beginner? Black and blue on the inside,
Hmm.
from digging elbows, and people grip it and grab it, and like, they'll literally just grab your flesh and not even think twice because they're in panic mode. So, as you train more, you're hooking,
Yeah.
you're actually grabbing, you're not grabbing the person's flesh as much, and then you start getting, a little bit better about that.
I'm going to be honest though, I do go like half panic mode anytime you pass my guard. But I think at this point I know not to shred you with like if I have nails or anything. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna
no,
throw
no,
it
no,
out
no.
there.
Yeah, no. There's the usual suspects. You always have like those four guys that
Hmm.
you're like, oh, he's gonna fucking claw me. He's gonna claw me. He can't help himself. Like he's just gonna claw me. Or you start passing their guard, or they're really
Yeah.
trying to pass and they almost got passed, and now they're like, oh, I'm there, and then they're gonna poke you in the eye and headbutt you, and
Yep.
kind of miss that right now, but.
Really? Isn't that kind of like twisted when you think about it? Like I'm like, oh, dude, I'm missing this dude like trying to rip my leg off or like choke me unconscious. Like I could really use that today. Like I
Well,
think
like we said,
maybe I'm
man,
not
it's
being
like
too twisted.
it's that mental and physical and emotional release. Like we're not getting that right
Yeah.
now. So it's like one of those things where it's just like, dude, I need this. I need this. I need this. And when you're so used to being able to just get like that breath out, like a little bit
Hmm.
of the weight of the world's left off your shoulders, you can kind of go home with a more even head because your boss has been yelling at you all day, and then you went to the gym and then you
Yeah.
dropped it, so you can come home and you're not as snippy or nippy or whatever it is. Because I mean, we're all only human, man. Like it happens. Shit
Hmm.
builds up.
It's
So I
true.
mean, listen, we're all human, man. At the end of the day, like we all got fears, we all got emotions, we all got like, like I get it. Sometimes from students, they're like, "Yeah, coach, you don't understand. Like I had to work 10 hours," and I'm like, "Okay, so did all these guys." But coach, I had to do manual labor. Well, that guy's 52 over there. He has a fake hip, half a back, and he works 16-hour days, and he's getting in here and getting after it. You're 18. Like no
Yep.
excuse. So like
Yep.
listen, and you know what? And I've had to learn this over the years to be more compassionate, I guess you could say, or more understanding, because like I don't have time for bullshit or excuses. Like my life has not been easy. I've worked my ass off. Like I have bad shit, but you know what? To everybody, like their problems are the biggest problems in the world. Even though to us, like, as you start getting older and you work more and you've had more, struggles in your life and you've had more, like life experience, at 18, like you can't put gas in your car. That's like the biggest thing in the world. Like for us, it's like, okay, I'll go siphon it out of the gas. I'll go siphon it out of
Mm-hmm.
the lawnmower to get to the gas station to put in there. But like just because we've been through it, where like now our biggest fears are like, okay, can I pay my mortgage so my kids have a place to live? Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one, man. Like, and it's so crazy to think about that now, but I mean, I think everyone's feeling that, not just the business owners, but even the people who work at like, organizations and
Mm-hmm.
companies, like, because who knows, like,
Dude,
if this
I
keeps
mean,
going the way
like
it
for
is.
me, it's a legit concern right now because I mean, I went from like I
Yeah.
just bought my own house a month and a half ago. Like Jim was killing it. Like this was not something that was foreseen in the 16 years of me. Like the one thing is, like I went through the recession of 2008, and I was only open for a year and a half, and I had like no fucking clue what I was doing in business. I was 20 something years old. Like I was just trying to like
Yeah.
I want to do jiu-jitsu and martial arts, and I was training a lot of MMA guys at the time, so it was like, yeah, we're gonna fight, we're gonna be on TV and shit, and then
Mm-hmm.
but like I just grind and hustle, and I made it through the first recession, and it's like, all right. And then like, I had a couple years that were tough, and then a couple years that are good. And like, we've been doing really well at the new location. And, we were really hitting
Yeah.
our stride. I was able to buy a house. I was able to pay back, the stuff I had to do to build out the school, and like everything was kicking, firing on all cylinders. And we were really starting to make the jump where we were, we're a bigger academy. And then this happened. So like nobody saw this coming. Like
Yeah.
you're seeing some of the biggest schools in the world like having real fucking problems with this, Some of the famous guys, like I just saw on Instagram maybe yesterday, Gary
Mm-hmm.
Tonin, like his school's done. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
man.
done forever. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a young guy. He's got a successful MMA career. Like, he's a
Yeah.
successful
I think he
jiu-jitsu
just has to
guy.
move to a new
Yeah, well,
location.
I mean, listen, bro, I feel for him. I mean, luckily he's a young kid with like, I say kid, I think he's like late 20s, but he's a kid to me. He's a young, talented guy, and he's had a school that always had a decent amount of students, but he just spent all that money like rebuilding a school and moving it into a location, and he was subleasing, and that guy went belly up. Then the landlord didn't want to resell him, so like right now, like he's smart enough to know he's like, it would be stupid for me to go try to get a lease and build out a school when I don't even know if jiu-jitsu schools are going to be open. So like,
Yeah.
you and like him saying that, it's like, kind of hits home. It's like, well, what am I going to do? Just keep sitting
It
here,
does, man.
hoping for my school to open. Like, something's got to
Yeah.
give, and one way or another. I mean, like this is my passion, this is my love, this is what I know how to do. But like you got to have that come to Jesus talk with yourself, like, hey man, like if it doesn't work out, what are you gonna do? Now, like I've always made it work out, so like and I want to be there for my students, and I want it to go the way it does. So like it wouldn't be my first time that I had to go work for one of my buddies doing plumbing or construction on the side, so I can still have my dream and spread the word of jiu-jitsu and martial arts and kickboxing to my students, because I mean it's just a part of me. Like I always said, like if we didn't have to work for money, I would still do jiu-jitsu and teach it every day. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
Absolutely.
passion of mine. And I mean, that's the other thing too, I think that gets lost in the sauce a little bit with jiu-jitsu is like, it's not just the workouts, it's not just the camaraderie, but it's like, dude, I'm everybody's psychiatrist. Like my like my private students, my other students, like they come to me for life advice. I don't know why. Like I got my fucking shit together, but but they do, because like, it's part of it. It's living that lifestyle. It's living by those principles, a lot of those principles, like, how it is, man. We train with guys that are, and girls, all walks of life, from like people that really have their shit together, and you're like, why are you doing jiu-jitsu? Like you have your shit together, and they're like, I love this shit because it's primal. It's like, I don't care what anybody says, violence is not the answer, this, that. Like, dude, at the end of the day, we're all fucking apes. Like we have certain biological things that have been instilled with us for millennium. So like we need to know how to protect ourselves. We need to get that aggression out. Like we don't hunt and gather for our food anymore. We don't do those things where like you're on the hunt with a spear, checking this thing down, getting that cardiovascular in because you just had to chase a deer over 2 mountains and something else to feed your family, and then you got to hunt and you got to do this and you got to go through that ritual, and then you got to kill, bring it back, and then the community. Like we don't have that. And I think, jujitsu replaces like that community of like, okay, we bring it in, we hunt together, we survive together, we make each other stronger, and then we talk about how to make each other grow and how to make each other better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
just not with the physical, it's the mental. It's like, like the old, not witch doctor, but like, like the wise men, like the elders of the tribe will sit down and like, counsel, the younger people of the tribe to get them to come up so they become better hunters and they're more prepared and everything else. And I think jujitsu is like, it's almost a little slice of that. Would you say? I mean, I don't know. I kind of think like that.
Yeah, and, I think since I've worked with like you, and I've worked with like George and like training like as like a jujitsu like professor, like you when you give like somebody who walks in off the street, when you give someone
Mm-hmm.
like jujitsu and like they get hooked, for most people it's
Mm-hmm.
first class, like they're hooked. Like I remember I was training Muay Thai for like years, and the same academy I trained at, they also had like a
Mm-hmm.
jujitsu program. And for me, I didn't know what it was. I just remember like, walking off the mat and seeing a bunch of
Yep.
dudes in pajamas, like, jumping around. I'm just like, oh, this is stupid. And finally I asked like my coach, I'm like, hey, should I try this? Like, should I give it a shot? And he's just like, yeah. He's like, why the hell not? And honestly, man, I remember first round, I got armbarred in probably like 5 minutes, like not even 5 minutes. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say the first 2 minutes of the round, immediately
Yep.
armbarred,
I know.
hooked.
Well,
So you give that to somebody, like as someone who owns a gym or just anyone in general, you give jujitsu to somebody and they get hooked, and they're hooked and they become a lifer, like
yeah.
they're changed
Yeah.
like forever. Like like you change like by like bringing new people in day after day and bringing them in, showing this, like that person has changed for the rest of their life. I don't care what anyone says, it
Oh yeah,
changes
no, jujitsu. I
lives.
mean, it saved lives. I mean, it changes lives. Like the
Hmm.
confidence that jujitsu gives, like you could just see it from kids to adults. Like you just walk with that
Hmm.
swag a little bit more, and then, and that's the whole thing. You don't have to be cocky, but it gives you that underlying confidence that like, yo, I can handle myself. It's real. It's a real amazing feeling for me to walk into a room and not be scared of another human man. Like, listen, like I
Yeah.
might size a dude up and be like, oh, that motherfucker would give me a problem. Like I ain't invincible. I understand
Hmm.
that. But like, dude, I've been training since I was 5. There's not many things that scare me when it comes to other human beings, just because I've, been through, competitions and, street fights and bar fights and everything else because I'm a little rough around the edges
Hmm.
sometimes. But, like, I mean, it's one of those things like, when I can walk into a room and you got 3 guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 250 that don't know what they're doing, I'm like, yeah, you're just another pawn, bro. Like it's no big deal. And like I've
Yeah.
got myself in trouble with that because I'm a little guy that walks with confidence. So the bigger guys are like, why is
Yeah.
this little dude so fucking confident? And that's where I've gotten in the fight, and then we show him why I'm so confident. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It gives you this underlying like swag and confidence that dude, it's priceless. It's priceless.
Yeah, man. And I think even like watching like like high level matches, like not just the males, but just like watching some of those high level like
Dude,
female competitors, like holy
dude,
shit. Like I think that's another like
dude.
amazing benefit. Like my wife
Mhm,
keeps sending me this video. It's a woman sitting at a bar, and this guy walks up to her. He has like wearing like a
mhm,
blazer, and he's like hitting on her. And she's like, she gets close to him. She's like, oh, okay. She's whispering in his ear, and then she reaches like one
mhm.
hand under his collar and like pulls
Oh,
him
I've seen
closer and
that.
like starts
Yeah.
to like kiss him. Then reaches another hand in and just full on like collar choke and just puts him out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like
Listen,
that's
I've been
that's fucking
training
awesome.
long enough. Like that, dude. My sister's a black belt underneath me. She would knock a grown man out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've had girls that fought underneath me that like I've literally seen them KO dudes in the gym. So and I train with
Mm-hmm.
girls that are high level girl competitors for jiu-jitsu. Like just great. Like man can do the same thing to a 130-pound guy. You It's that, but like, dude, I've seen and not for nothing, man. To each other than guys when they roll. They're going after it. They're going for the kill. So I mean, like there is
Yeah.
zero. zero doubt in my mind that, like, you know, the amount of confidence it can give to women is unreal, because then it, you know, it puts them at a level playing field where, like, you know, genetically guys are built a little bit bigger. They're usually naturally stronger. I mean, except for nowadays, you see all those guys in those skinny jeans, you know? So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, you know, if you believe in biology and you believe in, you know, evolution and shit like that, then, you know, most men are built a little bit different. But, like, you know, the women, I mean, the amount of confidence and just, like, I've seen, you know, little tiny petite girls beat the shit out of grown men, like big grown men, like choke them out, let them up, choke them out again, put them over, arm lock them, grab them over, ankle lock them. And, like, dude, the level of confidence that gives to a woman, because, like, we're not women. So, like, you know, like, I've listened, you know, to women talk, and they're like, you know, you don't know what it's like to be, like, scared to walk down the street because, like, everybody could be a predator to you. Where, like, we're guys and we don't think about that. It's not like, oh, we're walking down this dark alley and, you know, that person might rape me, or that person might jump me, or that person might abduct me. Like, we're guys, we don't think like that. Where, you know, a lot of women I've spoken to, you know, over the self-defense seminars, everything I've taught over the years, like, that's a serious concern. And, like, we don't see it because we're dudes. So we're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, that, a lot of women, you know, and, you know, talking to my wife and stuff, like, you know, they have to deal with stuff on a daily basis that's not even in a man's radar. You know, like going to the store, looking over their shoulders. Okay, this, and that. Like, for us, it's just like, get out of the car, you know, close the door, and I'm on my way. Where girls are like, okay, is there, you know, a street light here? And, like, you know, that's just instilled with them from when they're little, you know? So, you know, the power of any martial arts, I think that it gives, you know, any walks of life, but especially women, is like such a dramatic benefit. You know, so
Yeah, I think so. You know, yeah, you know, I was thinking about, like, you know, when you were talking earlier about, like street fights. So I don't know if this kind of, like, resonates
dude,
that, but, like, did you watch, like, the
I
UFC
didn't. I
fights
saw some
this
of the
weekend?
highlights,
The
but,
Ferguson
like,
and
how
Gaethje?
weird is it to fight for
Yeah,
nobody? Like, no crowd, no nothing.
yeah, and the the craziest thing, it's like when you're actually listening to it, like,
Yo, it's like
kicks, like,
old school
punches,
pride, because the
breathing,
Japanese fans
like, you
didn't
hear
fucking
everything.
talk, and they wouldn't say anything. So
Yeah,
it's like, literally, they'd be in, like, the
yeah,
Tokyo Dome, which is 80,000 people, and, you know, at the end they'd all, like, golf clap. You know, like so, you know, me and you were talking, like, how do you think
yeah,
this is gonna affect? Because, like, you know, Americans in the UFC, like, they're crazy, they're yelling, and, like, even the yelling of the fans can control the wave of a fight.
yeah. You know, I think of not just, like, the fans, but actually, like, the fighters too. Like, imagine, like, being in an octagon, or if we're talking like a grappling match, like being on a mat and it just being, like, dead quiet. Like, you hear nothing, no commentators, no people cheering, you know, no people screaming when you're reversing or anything like that. So I was almost kind of curious, like, you know, what's going through a fighter's mind? Are they
I
more
mean,
focused? Are they less
we would have to
focused?
ask somebody that's
You know,
fighting
so
at that
you know,
level to
I've
really
seen,
know. But just from me coaching for all the years,
yeah,
it probably brings a level of anxiety down.
hmm,
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we walk into a mat or a
yes,
cage every day to train with our partner with either music on or nothing, with
hmm,
coaches yelling, and all you hear is the mat, like, do 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 do. When you're in
yeah,
a cage, you hear the you know, you slamming on the canvas or whatever, or on the jiu-jitsu mats. Like, if we don't have music playing, you just hear you and that other human. So two things can happen. One, like, some guys feed off that energy and they're like, oh yeah, like, and some other guys don't like that energy. So the
hmm,
guys that don't like that energy might actually do better, because there might be less
yeah,
stress. You're not walking out to a crowd. It's just like, okay, 10 of our buddies are watching us around the cage in a fist fight, where, like, you know, because
yeah,
you see it with certain fighters like Conor McGregor, the more power, the more stress, the more people he performs. And then, like, you'll even see a guy like you know, Kenny Florian or Donald Cerrone, like, they're world beaters, but, like, they can't get to that gold medal. They can't get to the title. Like Cerrone's always had a hard time with, title fights. And it's not because the motherfucker don't know how to fight. It's not because he could beat anybody on any given day. He just has a hard time showing up on the game day of the, Super Bowl. And same thing with Kenny Florian. I mean, he would beat the shit out of everybody, get to the title fight, lose. Beat the shit out of everybody again, 5 fights, then get to the title fight and lose. And some guys have a problem with making that jump to listen, there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser, and that's the difference between champions and runner-ups, I guess. So I mean, like, I ain't saying I'm no champ and I'm gonna get in there and do any better than any of these guys, but like, just outside perspective looking in, you look at the record, you see these guys, you know how good they are. Especially some of those guys. Like, I'm a little bit older, I've seen Kenny Florian compete in like Grappler's Quest and shit, like before he was in the UFC. Cerrone's on the other coast, so I haven't seen too much. But a lot of these high-level fighters that have been UFC champions, I've seen them fight in ring of combat. I was backstage cornering other fighters while they were, going through and working their way up. And, I mean, I've seen it all. Like, I posted a video not too long ago. It was like me, George, and a couple of us in the back for one of Claude's fight. And, Tom the Blast is fighting in one of his Ring of Combat fights, and Mark Henry's back there, and Frankie Edgar. Like, they were all coming through at the same time, Some guys just made the jump. Some guys didn't. It's just the nature of the beast, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I mean, just from that past fight, I saw a lot of people remark that they actually liked it, or actually liked it more. The fact
well,
that it was
I mean, you got to look at it like this. Like,
it's
it's almost like the Tough Show.
I mean,
like, people still watch the Tough Show, and it was a closed environment, and there was no music. There was like the quick little walk out the tail of the tape, and then you would just hear their teammates yelling. Like, me personally, I'd rather watch a UFC from the comfort of my couch than going to an arena, just because I can see it better, I can do it, and like, once you're trained and shit, like, you just don't want to hear that drunk guy like, just stand up, pussy. Just stand up. Yeah, let me get you in side control, my shoulder through your fucking jaw, and see how quick you stand up. Oh, I would. Why would you tap from that?
I would just pull his arm out.
Breathe your way out of it. I would just make my neck gigantic. It's like, shut up, bro. I got no fucking neck, and I still get choked. So I don't know what to tell you, bro. It's like, what the fuck? But like, you deal with those guys like, oh, I would have just knocked him out. Bitch, you can't even knock him. The only thing that would knock him out is your breath. Fuck, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. These dude, couple of months, it'll be interesting to see how the sport.
Dude, Dana White's building his own fucking
UFC,
island,
but combat sports in general.
Yo, it's Mortal Kombat. It's fucking Mortal Kombat, dude.
That is Mortal Kombat. It literally, it's exactly what it is. And he won't acknowledge it either. People are putting on Twitter page,
dude, how could you not be a martial arts fan and not want Mortal Kombat?
He knows what he's doing.
I don't understand. Like, I don't think it's a ridiculous idea, but I'm fucking ridiculous, so I don't know. But because he was saying, he's like, it's going to be a hard time for me to get guys into the country. It's going to be hard, guys, for me to get guys into other countries. So basically, IMG owns us now, and they're the biggest fucking sports entertainment company, and they bought us for, billions of dollars. So we can buy an island in the Bahamas and fly ourselves in and make our own island, UFC island.
Yeah. And like, these guys ain't stupid either.
You never know. It depends where the island is. They might take a boat over to Epstein Island if they're getting weird.
Oh God.
Yo, shit gets weird apparently down there. Rich folks like weird shit. I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, me too.
I'm simple, man.
That's how the other folk live. Common folk just hoping that somebody opens up a business so I can work, sir. I don't know. I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I think it's something, but you know what? This time is like, this is history book shit, man. Like, you have wars and you have certain big things. I mean, This is history book stuff. Like, our kids are going to read about this, hopefully from not the inside of martial law in a concentration camp, but, hopefully it's well, listen,
Yep.
there's going to have to be a
Keep your
lot of
fingers
crazy shit
crossed
that
for
goes
us to
down
do
before
this.
we get to that point, because I feel, how everybody is in this world. There's certain people that are going to fight for the freedoms and liberty, and there's certain people that will let them go away. So I'm sure not everybody's going to sit down and take it on the chin, man.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it don't get to that point.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. But, once you take
Oh, no, of
people's
course not.
liberties and rights
But
away, it's very hard to get them back, especially when you give them away easily.
yeah, and you're kind of seeing it.
Well,
You're seeing it now, man. You can't just, stop people from doing
anything.
what they love, man. You're kind of seeing not just Jiu Jitsu, but just, businesses in general.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it's
just
cool.
their
Well, you
life.
know
You
what?
just, you
Like,
just can't
listen,
take that away and
everybody,
expect them
I
to be
know
like,
me,
all
you
right, whatever.
included, we try to
All
do
good.
the right thing in the beginning. Like, okay, we don't know how serious this is. Everybody tried to do the right thing. Okay, let's give it 2 weeks. And then they say 2 weeks isn't enough. So you're like, all right, everybody's like, all right, well, it's a month then, let's give it a month. And then, they're like, oh, 2 more weeks. Okay, it's a month and a half. Okay, now it's 2 months. Now they're talking about closing stuff in the summer. Then they're talking about school not starting till January. What, starting till the height of next Corona season? Doesn't even fucking make sense. Like, oh yeah, let's put it off till we're in this spot next year. And then like, dude, it's gonna be the summer. When's the sixth season in the summer? Like, what is it? Hay fever season? Like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck? Doesn't make sense. But hey, listen, to each their own. Just don't let me do my thing. You do your thing, and we can all do our own things and get together and have a party.
Yeah. I mean, and we all know there's the right way, especially with everything.
Yeah, man. Like,
Hopefully
listen,
opening up soon. I mean, this is the right way and a wrong way to do things. Just let us do
listen.
our
We're
thing, like
gonna
you
take
said.
our
But let us,
precautions. We're
we know
not
we're not,
idiots.
you know,
And like I
common
said,
sense
we're in
essentially.
one of the environments that like it's tough, like whether you're sick or you don't feel whatever it is. Like, yeah, it's a tough environment, but dude, we're built for it. We've been in that environment for between the both of us 40 years, so it's not nothing new to us. So we know what precautions we have to take.
Yeah.
And like like I was watching something the other day, and they were like, yeah, it was the guy Fauci or whatever. Like, the mask, it really doesn't work. It just kind of makes you feel safe, makes the other person safe, but like it's like it makes you touch your face more. And I'm like, bro, me and you were talking about this. Like, yo, you throw that mask on, it's like I'm touching my face all the time. I'm touching my face. It's like I gotta sit on my hands, like because it's not comfortable. You're breathing that hot breath in your face. You got glasses on, you're fogging up. Like, how's that better for you? So
Yeah. I'm sitting here in like,
dude,
Costco.
I was saying
this
the other
dude
day,
has me out here
literally
dressed up like a
any
ninja
other time
for
I
no
walked
reason.
into the liquor store Mother's Day to get Randy something, and literally like I walked in and and I know the guys because my school is above the liquor store, right? So I walk in, I'm like, yo, any other time in the world, if anybody walked in looking how any one of us looked right now, you guys would be calling the cops. And then the kid goes, yeah, now if you don't look like this, we have to call the cops. I'm like, yeah. What the fuck, man? Up is down, down is up. What's that show, Stranger Things? Right?
God.
Up is down, down is up. The new Upside Down or whatever the fuck it is,
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. It's strange times, right? Joe Rogan's thing, strange times.
We'll see.
Yep. Well,
we'll see, man.
I guess we'll wrap it up then for today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, we'll be publishing this next episode in the next couple of days. So, feel free to check it out. It's gonna be on what are we on? Anchor, Spotify. Pretty soon to be on iTunes. So when you see it, feel free to drop any type of feedback, comments, anything. It's all appreciated. Like I said, this is only episode 2, so we're looking to continue to hone and craft this for you guys. So anything you want. But also Roll Junkie promo, 2 Live Fools and then also go to rolljunkie.com. Check out any of their stuff. Like I said, Garrett and I have been using it for years.
Not at all.
It's great quality stuff. So
just keep moving, keep the faith, guys. We'll get through this all together. And biggest thing is just keep listening. Have a good time. Enjoy. If you guys have anything you guys want to hear us speak about, chop it up. And then, or if anybody, we're going to start doing some interviews with some, we know some pretty interesting people. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. All right. Rest of you guys enjoy. My tribe, we love you. We will see you soon.
Yep.
Later.
Jiu Jitsu, when I hit you, then I split you.